net was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain in the desert.
Welcome back to the show with no name. I think we've somehow made it to episode 3, 4. Yeah, see how it's on fire. I'm Renee Gartner. I'm joined by my regular co-host in Darcy Lussick. And this week, because we like to mix it up and run with like boxing, rugby league, we've gone back to boxing this week. Linn Sandstrom, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. You were actually Darcy's choice.
Oh, really?
Do you guys actually know that you actually shared the same, this probably sounds really wrong, the same change room with one of your fights, Darcy's first and only fight?
Yeah.
No, my second one.
Second one, sorry. Sorry, last.
Yeah, my last one. That's better, yeah. Yeah, that was, I remember when watching Linn sort of warm up, and it was like the whole, looking back, it's a whole range of emotions, before you see the nervous energy, and then the walk out, the excitement, and then come back. Obviously, it wasn't the greatest night for all of us that night.
Yeah.
Then the disappointment. So it was like just the roller coaster. You know what I mean? And I thought that's when I realised, shit, I'm gonna have to go through this next. But no, it's good. It's good to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
What was Darcy like in the change room? You just didn't even notice him.
No, I did notice you. I did notice you. No, you were pretty calm.
Yeah.
Calm, relaxed.
Yeah, I'd already accepted what was coming. So
This was the gal fight, obviously.
Yeah. But I guess everyone's different. Obviously, you guys have been there before. Everyone's different. I try and stay as calm as I can, and then it didn't help me. But yeah. What's
your fight day like? Like for me, it might be completely different. I'll chuck mine after yours. But what do you?
I don't do much, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm just like laying in bed, eating, cruising. I don't do much at all until like it's time to start going into the zone and just taking it easy.
What, do you listen to tunes before you fight?
I do. I have this cheesiest like champions Spotify list ever, but it gets me going. Like it's good. It's good for me. It works.
What are some of the cheesy songs that are on it then? You gotta lay it on it.
No,
you're gonna lay it on out. AKA check out her Spotify playlist and like and subscribe to that one.
Yeah.
Is it public?
It's not. It's actually my brother's.
What about you, Darcy? Did you have tunes?
I was like, I could only sort of go off when I was playing. I would like to do stuff during the day because obviously, say if you don't play or fight until the night time, lay around all day, I felt sort of sluggish. So I try and get out and just carry on like a normal day, and then try and get in the zone. Bit of music, just try and distract myself.
Yeah,
that's what I try to do. Just try and stay calm and distract myself. Because you think about it, you do your own head in.
Yeah. I think when I first started, I always used to listen to, that song Click? Ain't nobody fucking with my click.
Oh, yeah.
And then I realised when I got in the ring, it'd still be my head and I'd just be real tense.
Yeah.
So then I changed it and I'd listen to Sonia Dada, like the last song before I went out there, you don't do me no good no more. And so I'd be in there and I'd get nervous or stressed, or you just you get a little bit anxious in the ring, and all of a sudden I'd get the tune in my head, my shoulders would drop and I'd be like, okay, it's more relaxed. Yeah, my coach loved it. I had some weird songs on my playlist, but you got to relax.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy it. I think a lot of people go, you've got to have that aggressive sort of music to sort of get you pumped up to fight. But if you're not having fun in there, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree.
How many fights you had 8 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws.
Yes.
Is that where we're at right now?
Yeah.
And a big fight coming up.
A massive fight coming up. Finally here. Yeah.
24th of April?
24th of April. It's the world title.
Yeah, this is huge.
Yeah.
How did you get... So let's go back to... We'll come back to the 24th.
Yeah.
When did you first... Because you're very, very competitive in sport.
Yeah.
Where did it start for you? Table tennis from the beginning as soon as you
that
came
was
out of
going
the
to be
womb?
my question, actually.
Yeah.
You go, Darth.
That was going to be my question. So I was reading today, you're going from table tennis to boxing. That's not a natural progression.
No, I know. So
run us through that, please.
Darcy's going to go to table tennis after boxing.
Are you? Yeah,
No.
do it.
Yes.
I can teach you.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All the boys of No Limits want me to teach them to
Oh, yeah?
play. Yeah, they have like.
Don't
serious
teach them, take
competition.
Darcy to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will do that. No, back in Sweden, so table tennis is huge. It's a huge sport over there. Like, it's very competitive, and we have some of the best players in the world.
Yeah.
And I started when I was 12, which in table tennis world is very late.
Mm.
So yeah, they said like, oh, you're 12 years old, like you're never gonna make it, because the 12-year-old were already like in the national team.
How old are you meant to start?
I don't know. When you're like, this Chinese starts when they're like 3 years old.
Yeah.
I'm
What?
not kidding. Yeah, I'm not kidding. They
Darcy
go to
couldn't
elite
even like
schools.
put the right
Yeah.
shapes in the box at 3.
Still can't.
Yeah, no, it's very competitive. So I started then, and I was like, yeah, but give me a chance, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I'm gonna train harder than everyone else. Did that for 2 years and catch up with the girls at my level.
Yeah.
So I knew. So coming from that background, then going into boxing, I was told the same thing.
Mm.
And I'm like, you know what? I've done this before. Like, I've proved
Yeah.
people wrong before. I can do this with boxing. I had no experience whatsoever, but I just, wanted to give it a go. I've been an athlete before.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like, this can't be much different.
What goes into training to be a table tennis player? Because it's like, it's reflexes, it's footwork, there are a lot of similarities.
No, it is. I mean, for me, first, when I did table tennis back in Sweden, like, we weren't allowed to be in the national team if we didn't film every single session. Like, we weren't allowed to drink any alcohol. Like, there was serious.
Well,
like,
that's fair at 12.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, then I was older, obviously, like, but when I got older.
Yeah.
But 12 would have been
Yeah.
fair. But I reckon it was so much more serious than when I came into boxing. Like, but it goes in a lot. Like, I went to China, for example. I got a scholarship going to China, and they are training 8 hours a day, even if they are like 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They'd be like, I reckon your dad would make you into a really good table tennis.
Yeah.
Darcy's dad was we'll call him a lunatic. I can call him that. Hi, Dad. But he was really hard on him and his brothers. Like,
He'd fit right into that whole Chinese
Yeah.
regime, you know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
he'd be perfect over there.
Start them young.
Mm.
so were your parents in table tennis? Like,
No,
where
no
did
one. No one. So we just had like this school, like we did heaps of sports in school,
Yeah.
and I probably played it all. And
soccer
then-
as well?
Yeah,
Yeah.
soccer, handball, like everything you can think about, I've done it. All the sports, I loved it.
Don't say that on the show.
And then I just tried table tennis. I won this tournament without even training, and then I was like, no, I want to do this. I want to give it a shot.
And then from there, you moved to Sydney. So did you quit table tennis before you moved to Australia?
Yeah, I did. So what happened was, obviously once I started to get good, I got accepted into a private school for athletes.
Yeah.
So we were able to play table tennis during school time. And then when I graduated, like I said, I got a scholarship, rewarded for being one of the best athletes at the school. But then the boys in the team, in the club that I was playing in, they could make money of table tennis. And the only reason was that I was a female, I had to pay to play.
Wow.
So I'm like, here I am putting in exactly the same amount of hours, training, dedication, and you guys can live off this. And I have to pay to be able to do this, playing in the highest leagues.
Wild.
Yeah.
Did
so-
you get them to pay with their their sponsorship?
No, I
You'd be like,
didn't.
you know what, you won, you now pay for me, and we're evens.
No, I just had to hustle my own way when watching them like getting it all served on the table. But yes, I was like, no, you know what, screw this. Like, I'm worth more than
Yeah.
this. I can't do this. So then I stopped and started studying marketing.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, hold on, like, I'm an athlete. Who am I now if I'm not an athlete?
Yeah.
And that's when I decided to move to Sydney. So I kind of lost my identity and then moved to Sydney, didn't know what to do, and walked down the street and found the boxing gym.
Wow. So you moved to Sydney not planning on boxing?
No, I
Oh,
had
really?
no thoughts of boxing
Wow.
whatsoever. The gym was opening 100 meters from where I live, from where I moved to. I didn't do any research whatsoever on Sydney or boxing, nothing.
Yeah.
And then I walked in, and one of the boys coming up to me, he's looking at me like, you want to be a boxer? You will never make it as a boxer. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong.
How old were you when you moved over here?
23,
Okay.
24. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a big jump. Like,
Yeah.
what enticed you to move to Australia? Because
I think, again, the same thing. I remember when I graduated university,
Yeah.
I told the teacher, like I was thinking of moving to Sydney. I'm like, I'm going to move to Sydney. I'm going to have a nice apartment with a pool, live a really good life. And he's like looking at me like, good luck, honey. Yeah, you can do that.
People in Sydney still say that to each other, like buying in Sydney. Yeah.
He's like,
you're
good
probably
luck.
the only one who's going to get one in Sydney at this rate.
And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to do it. So then I was like, you don't think I can do it? Watch me go and do it. So yeah, here I am. Moved to Sydney. I didn't honestly do any research. I'm like, let's just pack it all up and move.
And what were your family like when you said that? They were just like, this is what she does.
Pretty much. Like I've always gone against what everyone else does, because in Sweden we have this like law, like you can't stand out. Like my parents were freaking out when I said I wanted to become a world champion. They were like, Linn, you cannot say like that. Like you have to fit into the norm of everyone else. So do not tell the media you want to be a world champion, because it's never going to happen. But yeah, they were like, okay, you move to Australia. We come and visit you after 6 months because you're going to be back in a year. So they did. And here I am 8 years later and still living here.
Wow.
Fighting for a world title.
And fighting for a world title.
So talk to me about the journey then. So your first fight, I think a lot of people sort of assume you have your first win and then you'll sort of continue on and that's where it all begins.
Yeah.
Your first one, like in front of a pretty bloody big crowd, you unfortunately got the loss.
Yeah.
What was that moment like in the build up to it, saying, I'm going to do this, I'm about to make the mark, and the emotions that you would have gone through for that?
For me, I remember after a while in boxing, I think back then, and probably you have experienced it as well, like women's boxing wasn't accepted the way it is now, not at all. Especially I feel like for me personally, not in the gyms. Yeah. So when I started, obviously being an athlete previously, I was used to training so bloody hard, being dedicated, and people are like, who the fuck is this girl? And like, why is she training so hard? Like, who does she think she is? Like, she doesn't deserve this. Like, she hasn't been in boxing forever. So I think that a lot of people didn't think that I deserved to get the opportunity to be on a card like that. Like me and my coach, because it was during COVID as well. So we had 24 hours to pack everything up and fly to Queensland to make the border closure.
Oh, that's right.
And we had to spend 3 weeks over there before the fight even was happening. Yeah. And everyone is like, why is he going with her? She's just a female, like, why is she getting these opportunities? And I remember when they announced it, like, other boxers, other females, other girls were even saying like, why are you putting her on the card? Why not me? Why not another girl? And to me, like, I wasn't prepared for that. I've never experienced that. Yeah. And I've never experienced other people wanting to see you fail so badly. So I remember walking out to the arena. I thought I was prepared, but then it all went black. I can't remember one single thing from the whole night, from the fight. I've never rewatched it. Yeah. And as I came back from there, I remember I had like a panic attack. And I was like, shit, I screwed it all up, because it was just so much pressure on me. Yeah. And my coach saying, like, I packed all of this up for you. Like, you better bloody win, you're here to make a statement. And also having so many people wanting to see me fail. Yeah. So then, and then afterwards, like, people were saying that, oh, No Limits, they will never give you an opportunity again because you screwed this up. Like, they will never have a female like you back again. Which, credit to No Limit, took me back straight away. Yeah. And I've only fought with No Limits in Australia. And look where it got me, like, for me to be able to come back from that and prove even more to the people that, you know what, I lost and I take that, I swallow that, but I've learned so much from that. Because if you would treat me the same way now, I've already experienced it. Like, it wouldn't face me.
Do you think that you're getting more respect now?
Definitely.
The longer that you've been in and fighting for a world title,
Yeah.
And especially in, say, like boxing has obviously been a male-dominant sport for a long time. Do you feel like females now are getting treated with the respect that they should be?
No, I think they do. I mean, some people may say that, women's boxing still not make money or we're not worth as much, but I'm making a lot of money on doing this sport. I'm training all the time.
I love that.
Great
Go girl.
Sport. Yeah. And people that, wanted to see me fail before are now supporting me. Yeah. So to be able to ask that. A person like that is pretty cool.
How has that conversation flipped? Is it just been like you've heard through the grapevine that they've said things, and then now you're training alongside them, or you're sparring with them, or you're in sort of similar fight nights that you're speaking to them, and you've seen that relationship change?
And definitely a lot of relationship has changed, but you know, like I'm not gonna lie, like people that seen my journey of social media might think, oh, it's easy, you know, she's just been in the gym, she's just been training, but it hasn't been easy, you know. There's been days in the gym where I know that majority of the people there don't want me there. Like back in the days.
And that's a horrible, uncomfortable. It's already an uncomfortable place. I think for anyone going to a gym for the first time, whether you're, you know, an everyday trainer or whether, you know, you're a weekend warrior, I think that first instance going into a place where, 100%, you're probably one of the only females in the gym to start with. It is a male crowd, and whether you're a brazen, confident person or not, it's a hard thing to walk into.
No, it is for sure. And the thing that I said to myself was like, look, the only thing that I'm not gonna do is not show up. So every single day, no matter how many people out there don't want me there, don't want to see me training, you know, I'm gonna show up because like I know my goal is to fight for a world title. And when I reach it, it's just gonna be so much better. So that's like honestly my best advice to anyone is always show up no matter what, like no matter how hard it is.
Before we like really delve into your fight, your upcoming fight, and some of your other fights as well too, like you spoke about just then, I'm making money. And did you start reaching out to the brands yourself when you first got into it?
So I actually like pride myself on being good in sponsorship. I have some really good ones, and obviously I learned that in a really big way when I ruptured my Achilles, for example. So I ruptured my Achilles. Luckily, I'm sponsored by both physios and recovery centers, which has provided me so much help and probably helped me with the fastest Achilles like comeback ever. But because I already had those partnerships in place, it wasn't a big deal when it happened because I already had the connections to help me through it, rather than coming into a like place like that asking for sponsorship when you're already damaged, you know. So I in the beginning I reached out to companies and myself, and obviously as my profile has grown, they started reaching out to me. I remember one time, for example, I got flown over to Barcelona to do a photo shoot for a clothing brand, and they could have picked any girls, but they picked me from Australia to do a boxing shoot for them and things like that. I worked with Monster Energy, I worked with Adidas, I worked with so many big brands, and it's fun.
You should sell like the marketing strat to other athletes and how to approach.
That's a good idea.
So there's a money maker for you, and I will take 10.
No, I actually started helping some of the boys in the gym, the younger generation, you know, prospects coming through and guiding them through them. Because again, when I started doing it, people are like, oh, what is she doing? Like, why is she reaching out to brands? You know, I remember, for example, when Adidas did a massive search for boxers in Australia. And they looked for pros and amateurs, and everyone was applying, and it was this massive thing. And then I applied, but I didn't tell anyone. And they called me back, and they were saying like, look, you're a number one pick without a doubt. And I remember the looks I got from Boxing Australia. It was not fun when it was announced that I got the sponsorship. But I think you need to have a good social media, and you don't even have to put so much time and effort into it. You know, a lot of people think it goes so much into it, but it doesn't.
Talk to me about the Achilles. You just brushed over it. It's not a brush over. You only just recovered from it, and Achilles, Darcy. The boys on the field, it's you're going for the season.
It's like usually a 12-month injury, you know. So
how many weeks?
So I am now, I think 7 or 8 months post Achilles rupture, and I remember when it happened. I ruptured it. We went to Sports Lab, who is my physio place. And they obviously saw that I ruptured my Achilles. And I said to Tony, before we go to the doctor and do the x-ray, let's just go back to the gym and finish the training session before we go there. So that's what we did. We went back to the gym and actually finished the strength and conditioning session. And then they did the x-rays, showed that it was ruptured, and had surgery a week later. And the surgeon told us like, oh, look, it's going to take 9 to 12 months before you can start boxing. And Tony looked at me and he's like, Linn, it's not going to take us 9 to 12 months. There is no way. And also 2 days after I ruptured, I got an offer for a world title.
Oh.
Yeah.
So just on that, so I remember an Instagram post that Boxing Media put up of you training in your boot on the heavy bag.
Yeah.
And the article there was a lot of people that will give it sort of a negative reaction to it, you know, saying, what are you doing? They thought that you were just doing it for likes, blah, blah, blah. But that's actually what you do. You actually in there generally training.
No, generally.
And do you think that it would have been different if there was a male in there doing that? You know what I mean?
I've had some of the boys in the gym saying it to me because we all went to a training camp.
Yeah.
And I think they all thought that I was nuts. Like I said, like straight after I went back training.
I've realised that now, yeah.
Yeah, and then...
Do you feel like you guys will get along? We all get along here.
She's way above me now. Yeah, she's way above me. Yeah.
And then I remember the doctor said, look, once you've had the surgery, you need to take 2 days off because their foot needs to be in a certain position, whatever. But then you can start training. And I honestly haven't missed a session since I ruptured it. And we did testing. My strength and conditioning coach did testings. And I'm 20% stronger now than I was before I ruptured my Achilles.
Wow.
Like I'm on my career peak performance, like more lean, more strong. Every punch is stronger. And the boys just told me stories. They were like, Linn, when we were in LA, we were all sitting having a chat. And we were thinking of you coming into the gym on crutches, then putting on a peg leg to stand there and hit the heavy bag. And we wouldn't even go to the gym if we had a cold. And we were just like, who the fuck is this girl?
That just shows women are a lot stronger than men.
Well, that's right. It's pain threshold.
Yeah.
Because you missed the story about how you did it.
Yeah, running. I did it running. I hate running. And I even said that day.
Same.
I hate it. I haven't done a training camp running.
Yeah.
And I still fought heaps of 10 rounders. So I don't really believe you need to run to be fit. But I mean, I was going to start running. And the first thing I do is rupture my Achilles, which should be career ending. But
But you continued to lay on the floor and everyone just ignored you. Wasn't that right?
It took like a few minutes before someone even came out and checked if I was alright. And I was just laying there like could not get up on my own. I think everyone was in shock to tell my coach though what happened.
Yeah, because your coach has got a bit of he's known for being like he's a lovely, lovely human, but he's got leads the strong hand.
He does, and everyone knows it, and especially when it comes to me, like we have this really close relationship of like almost like father-daughter. So if we are training, like sometimes people leaves the gym like they cannot handle the heat that's going on.
This is great. I like this.
Yeah, no, it's full on. So I think everyone was scared to tell him, to be honest.
And now here we are. We've got we're going straight for the title, babe.
Yeah.
24th of April.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your opponent.
Yeah, so she's the world champion from Argentina.
Yeah.
And what happened was she actually reached out to me on that video where you were talking about because she had broken her hand previously to that video. And she goes, because I had heaps of world champions and people commenting and, cheering me on, whatever. But again, just to clarify, it was not for likes. I did it.
But it was to coax the world champion.
And it worked. It worked.
She faked it.
Nice, I like that.
And she commented and she goes, this is what we do for the sport we like.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oi, don't come here comment on my shit.
I don't want to like you. I want to fight you.
Yeah, so I messaged her. I'm like, you know what? I don't do this publicly. I messaged her straight away on her DM and I go, oi, like you're injured, I'm injured. Let's fight. Let's get this on. What's your manager's number? And then the negotiation started.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it wasn't friendly chat.
No, it's business.
It was so business, but no, like it wasn't like.
No, she was friendly.
Yeah, okay,
Her comment was friendly. I don't even think she barely knew who I was in that sense. Or they reached out way before that and wanted to fight, but they gave us like 2 weeks notice to fight her in France, which is not really fair.
Yeah, of course.
So then my coach started the negotiations, which been going on for months and months and months. Like it's been really big negotiations. Obviously, it's a world title, you know. And to also be able to bring it to Australia, it goes a lot into it.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, but he managed to do it, and here we are.
And you've got a couple of girls that have flown overseas to come over and train with you as well.
Yeah, no, I have. I mean, we decided not to leave any stone unturned.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is our opportunity of a lifetime. So first what we did, we went to Thailand to have a fight, more like of a comeback fight after the Achilles, because that was only 6 months after I ruptured it. I went a crazy 10 round over there.
Get rid of the ring rust too,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, you need to, because you can see other fighters what happens when they have ring rust and come back.
Guilty.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a thing. You
Yeah,
know? Like,
it is.
And it's true. So we were there for 3 weeks and then came back for 5 days. Then we went for a brutal training camp in LA for 5 weeks. Came back again, and we now flown over 3 different girls from the States, from Canada, and another girl from LA. So the last girl just arrived from Vancouver now. So she's going to be here for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
You talk that in that Thailand camp, is that the one where the ring rust fight that you had where you thought it'd just be like, get the ring rust out? And
it turned brutal. It really did. Oh my God, like it's Wild West over there. I don't even think they gave me the right opponent. Because I studied the girl that I was supposed to fight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's good. Like I will knock her out in 4 rounds. Like it will be a good fight, but that's what I'm going to do. I knew it. And then I look at this girl at the weigh-in and said to my coach, I'm like, that's not the girl.
They've done a swap.
Yeah. And he's like, of course it's your girl. Who else would have, there's no other girl say that's your girl. I'm like, okay, but you know, I just had this feeling it's not my girl. Like they're going to screw us up. And we knew that night they were going to sign the contract for the world title. So if I would have lost, there would have been no world title.
Yeah.
Like it was so much pressure. So I'm like, Tony, just call the promoter and ask him what the heck is going on. He called him and goes, oh, I'm so sorry. We just swapped the girl out. But you can go with her. And I said to Tony, we have no idea who this girl is.
Yeah.
Like, she's a beast.
You're like, this is meant to be my ring rust fight and easy.
Like, just cruising.
Yeah.
I don't even know if my foot is going to hold up, you know. And then I went out there and I hit her so hard. I thought her head was going to fall off. No jokes. And she starts smiling at me. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I hear my teammate screaming, wipe that smile off her face. And I'm just going for it. And she just keeps smiling, keep coming forward. And I can hear Tony in the corner starting stressing. He's like, what the fuck is going on? And all I'm thinking, I'm punching. I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm losing the world title. Oh my God, I don't know who this girl is. Oh my God, what are we going to do? For 10 rounds. It was brutal. But I got through it. But one judge gave it a draw. So they could have robbed me in Thailand as well.
Shit.
Yeah, but watching back, I won 9 out of 10 rounds. But it was just very dramatic.
Yeah.
Very dramatic.
Did you ever find out who she was?
No idea. Still don't know.
Still to this day, she's this mystery bogey.
And she was like, I believe she was the best opponent I've had. Best opponent. But looking back at it, I mean, I got 10 hard rounds out.
Yeah.
But being in there, that was,
But that
insane.
fight would have also taught you how to get out of muddy water too. Because, like, I mean, you can, the biggest saying is everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face, right?
Yeah.
We've all heard it. You get told it 1,000 times. But to go in and have that when you think you're prepared and have it all turned upside down and still be able to keep yourself afloat is huge.
Yeah, no, it was. And especially because we were all so stressed. And me and Tony just looked at each other and we were both panicking, you know? It was just because it was so much on the line.
Yeah.
And it would have been like, oh my God, I lost it in Thailand. When it's supposed to be like this easy
With an unknown.
fight. Yeah, with an unknown person. I can't even complain because I don't know her name. Honestly, like it was crazy. But good experience, like good fun afterwards once it was all done. Yeah.
I find smiling in fights, like it's just something that I've always done. I really like to do it to annoy people. In my fight with Taylor, I had Bubbles written on my mouth guard. So Bubbles is like a nickname kind of, or a fun name. So say the word Bubbles, but angry.
Me,
Yeah.
do it now.
Yeah.
Bubbles.
Can you say it? Go.
You can't say that angry.
Go.
Bubbles. What's going on here? How did we get here?
So it's my
You got a
funny
word
word,
title for
right?
Bubbles.
No, I'm getting to
Oh,
it.
okay,
So
okay,
it's
yeah.
my funny word.
Okay.
So it's like my happy word if I'm ever angry, I think of the word bubbles. Or if someone's yelling at you, the other thing is to start playing the circus song in your head. So if they're yelling, you just start going, do, 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 do. Two little fun facts for you. But so I decided just for random laughs is to get my mouth guard instead of my name or anything like that. So I've had Bubbles put on my thing. And so we're in the fight with Taylor and I was standing there and someone yelled something out and I just started laughing. So all you could see is this big like smile and Bubbles. And Taylor's just gone like this. I'm going, yes, worked, boom, cracked her. And it was probably the only decent punch I landed in the fight. But we got to the end of the fight and like, we were having a chat. She's like, what the fuck is written on your mouth guard? I go, Bubbles. And she goes, you just started laughing and I didn't know what you were laughing at. And then all I wanted to do was read what was on your mouth guard. I was like, that was my plan the whole time.
So funny.
But you got to have a happy word and smiling at people when they're trying to bash you. It's just,
It was just so frustrating though. Like I was actually hitting her so hard. Like I could just hear it. Her head was snapping. She comes back smiling.
it's like a
massive.
Pez, just a Pez, just
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
Well, the opponent that you've got coming up, this will be her fourth
Yeah. so
defense of this belt.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's huge. It's a big fight.
No, I mean it's definite. I mean it's a WBA. You know,
Yeah.
it's not an interim, or it's not a vacant belt that I'm
Yeah.
fighting for. Like this is actually against the world champion who's successfully defended it 3 times. So you know, I'm not going into this thinking that oh, I'm already the world champion. You know, I'm really gonna have to work hard for this victory. But I believe I put in the work, and like I said, like
For sure.
after the rapture, I'm in the best shape of my life. Like
Yeah.
I actually think it was a blessing happening to me. So yeah.
You brought that fight to Sydney because obviously your home gym's here with Bondo Boxing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Would you take another, like I know you fought in Sweden recently before the rupture.
Yeah.
Would you like to take a title fight back to Sweden? What do you consider more home soil?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, having it in Australia has been my dream for
Yeah.
a long time. But if there was money to do a show like that in Sweden, I
Well,
would.
she's got dollar bills.
Yeah, you gotta put up the money. I'm a full-time athlete.
Yeah, it's very true.
When I win the title, we gotta make some money as well. Yeah. So you gotta take it to shows and countries that make sense. I mean, I've fought 6 times in Australia and 6 times overseas.
Yeah.
In different countries. So
Do you think Australia is your favourite place you fought?
it's definitely my favorite
Yeah.
place where I fought. It's the most serious place where I
Yeah.
fought. The rest is just, oh my God, I have some stories.
That was going to be my next thing. I said, like, a couple of years ago, Australian boxing was probably not in a great place.
Yeah.
I think No Limits really helped Australian boxing, especially the female boxers. Then you had blokes like Gow. I thought he sort of really helped Australian boxing he had those sort of big shows. Like, 8 years ago, there's probably no real proper boxers that could headline a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Now, the other night I rushed home to buy the Sam Goodman fight. I think Australian boxing's in a really good place at the moment. I think you're coming into the prime at the right time.
No, definitely. I mean, Australian boxing is killing
Yeah.
it. Like we have, and just this week, I think we've had 4 world title fights,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
What do you make of the girls coming through though? Like, 'cause at the start it used to be maybe 1 or 2 sort of categories. We're now kind of filling all of them, and it'd be like, I mean, there's been all female fight cards that they had on here. What do you make of the talent that's coming through Australian?
No, I think it's really good. I think it's really, really good, and it's coming through more and more. Like you said, I mean, when I first turned pro, I think it was like 6 girls on box rec to choose from,
Yeah.
and no one was in my weight division.
Yeah.
Like, how is that possible? And now it's like,
Who are you fighting?
Yeah.
Some of the boys.
Yeah, but her weight division's like a small child in comparison to us. She weighs probably about the same size as my leg.
no, but there was just no one,
Yeah.
no one to fight.
Yeah.
And now there is heaps of girls to choose from.
Yeah.
So it's great, it's just growing more and more, and
Would you fight, I think, was it Jessica Cashman again?
Yeah.
Was there a rematch clause to that one? Because that was
No.
the first loss.
That was my first debut, my first loss.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't going into it thinking that, I'm going to lose to her.
No, you don't go in there.
No,
yeah.
I wasn't thinking that. It definitely didn't have a rematch clause.
Yeah, okay.
I think that would have I've been like present in the mind, if that makes sense. Like
Yep.
would have actually been there physically and mentally.
Yeah.
I would have come out with a victory. But like I said, I honestly cannot remember 1 second
Yeah.
of the fight. Like not 1 second, not one punch,
Yeah.
So I can't even say what happened in it. Yeah.
So would you go her again? Like, would you stay, or your aim is to fight international now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would definitely want to fight international. I mean, obviously, whatever my team says to do, like what they plan for me to do, I would go that path. But yeah, the first goal that I have is to become a world champion and then see what doors open from there.
Well, so Clara Lussick,
Yeah.
is that right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's what she's getting called now. You're beating her?
Yeah.
What's next?
Look, to be honest, I don't like saying what's next. I think,
But you do like saying, I'm going to win.
yeah. I'm going to win.
Yeah.
But
But
I'm not
keep it
saying
there.
after that I'm going to do this and that and
Yeah.
this. Like, this has been such a major goal of mine
Yeah.
to fight for a world title that I'm not looking past this, Once I win, I'm sure a lot of opportunities will open themselves. But until then, like, this is my sole focus.
This one's in Sydney, but you did say before you've had some funny stories about some of the places you've fought before. Where's the worst?
Worst? I mean, I fought some crazy places, but so I actually did a world tour, right? That was 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
So I fought in Brisbane. 7 days later, I fought in Philippines, and my coach didn't come with me to any of these fights except
went
for
on your
Brisbane.
own?
Yeah, I went on my own with my best friend, who is afraid of bacteria.
Where'd you go? The Philippines.
Yeah, to the Philippines. To the bloody Philippines. And so we fought there 7 days later. After that, we went to Mexico to train for a week, where I got dropped in sparring with 2 body shots.
Oh, no.
Brutally. And she's like standing there on the ringside like, come on, let's go. And the Mexicans are just like digging into me. Then 7 days later, we flew to Costa Rica and we fought in Costa Rica. But the thing was, when we got there, they said that, we're going to get you on a private plane to the venue. They forgot about us, first of all. So we were left at the hotel, had to take a bus in the jungle with the monkeys, literally ending up at the venue where there was cows everywhere around the place.
Cows?
Yeah, proper cows. I'm not kidding. And they were saying, look, she's going to have obviously people speaking English in her corner.
Oh, no.
They wrapped my hand. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't think this person has wrapped one hand in their life. I thought I was going to break my hands before I even started. Coming out and realizing that no one in my corner speaks a word English. So I'm coming back to my corner. And when you have the groin guard and you sit down? And I can't breathe if they don't pull it out. So I'm trying to tell them, like, pull my groin guard out. And all they start doing is pouring water down my throat. Soaked in water, walking out. I'm like, oh my God. And the girl that I was supposed to fight. So what happened was, like, I'm a professional, right? So I want to make the weight, even if it's overseas. Sometimes they're a bit more like, you don't need to make the weight
catch
properly,
weight,
whatever.
yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm going to make the weight on the dot. But we don't have a sauna. We don't have hot water at the hotel. But I'm still going to do it. So I'm just going to starve myself, right? So I
this is
starve
healthy.
myself to make the weight. And then on the day of the weigh-in, Tony calls me in panic. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm just buying stuff to eat after the weigh-in. I'm dying there while my friend is complaining that her salad in her Big Mac is not good enough. And he's calling me. He's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm just getting food. He goes, start eating, start drinking. The girl is going to come over 2 kilos. But don't worry, you got this. You will be fine. I'm like, oh my God. So then I walk to the weigh-in. look, she steps on the skate 4 kilos over,
Oh.
and I've killed myself to make this weight. So the promoter is stepping on the scales to make my weight look higher than it actually is, or I wouldn't have been able to fight. It was just like so crazy. So when we were done fighting, and my friend is like, I'm so over this. I just want to go home. I don't want to do this anymore.
She's covered in sanitizer, hanging out with the monkeys and the cows in the
Did you
front
win?
row.
I won because when I stepped out, she was huge compared to me.
Yeah.
So I'm stepping out there. No one can speak English. I don't understand what's going on. They're pouring water. And I'm like, I got to hit her so hard so this fight stops. So I start hitting her so hard. Thank God she stops in the 4th round. Like she doesn't want to continue.
Yeah.
But I don't understand because I can't speak English. My corner can't speak English.
So
and the
you-
announcer can't speak English. So I have no idea what's going on until they raised my hand and said that I won.
You're walking out to tap gloves and they're like, no.
Yeah, like that. Pretty much. Like, it was just insane.
That is wild.
Yeah.
I was expecting a good story, but probably not that. I think the worst, because one of the Australian titles, New South Wales titles, we had to fight out at the dog tracks.
Oh, wow.
Like, that was like same as early boxing, so I had no dietitian. It was just starve yourself, which is horrible, and we do not talk about that anymore. And I'm just sitting there and my mates are just eating, and I had to wait to weigh in. I'm just sitting around the dapto dogs. No dogs running, so I couldn't even keep my mind off the fighting. But that's rogue.
Yeah, it was rough. And I mean, to be in all of those countries as well.
Yeah.
And like, I remember like going with my friend, again, who doesn't like bacteria. I was going to go to the toilet.
Explain this, don't like bacteria. Is that
Yeah,
just
but
like
she had to pick out the mouth guard and it was drool and she was like, oh my God, I can't do this. I mean, I had to go to the toilet. She had to go with me to pull down my pants because I couldn't do it with the gloves.
Yeah.
And it honestly, it was insane. It was just insane, all of it.
It made you stronger.
It made
Yeah.
me stronger, that's for sure. Like, if I can survive any of that, like, nothing can touch me now.
Well, speaking of one of your first cards, you were under Tim Zhu. He obviously fought recently. What did you make of that fight?
I mean, you can't say that he's not a warrior.
Mm.
Like, what a warrior, honestly. To go through that for 10 rounds is just brutal.
Yeah.
You know, and the amount of blood that came through, like, oh my God. Like, I remember I fought in Sweden, for example, and I got a cut.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding, it was probably like 3 drips of blood. And I tasted that blood and I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And I can only imagine what he must have tasted in his
Yeah.
mouth as well. Like, it's just all of these things that you don't think about.
And it does blow your eyes too when the blood hits it. I got
Of
split
course.
there, and I just remember it like dripping, and I was like, "That's not sweat." And
Yeah.
then it's just It's cloudy is the best way to explain it.
Yeah.
So, what did you think fight wise though? Aside from the cut, the first 2 rounds.
I mean, obviously, he did so well the first 2 rounds. I'm like, okay, he's going to stop this guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's looking so much more impressive than I even thought that he could.
Yeah.
With such short notice as well, taking on an opponent like that. Like, Tim's just class, you know?
Yeah.
And you can just tell how smart he is as well. Like, he's done heaps of sparring in our gym.
Yeah.
And when you get to watch him like that, you just realize that he just takes a round or 2 to study his opponent and then just breaks them down completely.
Do you think him and Fundora will rematch, or do you think?
I mean, right now with the things going on left, right, center, like everything is just changing. You know, you never know. This is boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you come to the highest levels, like I should know now with our negotiations, like it's not easy. So I can only imagine what his team must be going through.
I think it came out today that Fundora's been ordered to fight Crawford.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
of
saw
course.
that, but then I
Yeah.
also saw that Fundora is now suspended to fight
Oh, really?
because he broke his nose, so he has a medical suspension
Oh, he
until
would too.
September.
Oh.
Yeah, so they're saying he might not be back out until like December.
See and that's the complication of boxing, right? Like a lot of people go, "Oh, well, you guys are the same weight division, so why can't you just fight?" But
Yeah.
there's so much
Going on.
politics going on behind it, and who has to fight who first, and how long you can hold that out before you can then take another fight that you want.
Yeah.
Is that the same with you, or are you just taking every fight that's in front of you? You want the best, and
I'm just guided by my team, to be
Yeah.
honest, and steered in the direction. You know, I know my coach just put out a path for me to follow.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done. You know, I will stick to that plan, and it's obviously worked. You
Yeah.
know, it's got us to this point.
Yeah.
So all credit to him and his plans. but yeah, whatever they think for me, that's where I want to do. And
Were you there for the fight? Did you stay for the fight?
for Tim's?
For Tim's, yeah, in Vegas.
No, I didn't. So so last year when he was supposed to fight in Vegas, we had booked it to fly there to watch him. Obviously, it didn't happen, so we still had to go to Vegas. This year, we had booked it for an NRL weekend to go and watch him fight at the NRL weekend. Didn't happen, so we still had to.
But you saw the better sport. No.
Yeah, we saw the better sport. So we still had to go there and watch it, the NRL. But yeah, we didn't watch Tim, unfortunately.
What'd you make of the footy?
It was good, man.
Yeah.
Like there was so many Australians everywhere. Like
It's
Vegas
like Bali
was,
on steroids,
yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah,
it was. It was full. Like it was insane.
And you're a South fan?
I am.
Yeah. Why are you so
You
shy away
live in
from
Bondi,
that?
don't you? Is that where you moved? Bondi?
No, at Bondi Boxing Club in Waterloo.
Oh, okay.
It's a fine line. It's a fine line. So what made you pick South? Where did the South love
I
come
think
from?
honestly it came from just being with No Limits and then
Of
obviously
course.
hanging with Latrell and Cody and them being in their office playing table tennis. I became a South fan. And all the guys in the gym are South fans.
But you've beaten those boys in table tennis every time. Yeah. So dominant. Dominant.
Number one.
All right. So April 24 in Sydney. Whereabouts?
Horden Pavilion.
Horden Pavilion. And how can people get tickets?
Get tickets online. Go to my Instagram.
Yeah. Perfect. What is your Instagram
Link
handle?
in my band bio.
Yeah. Link in the bio. And your Instagram handle is?
Sandstrom Boxer.
And actually, before we go off, no nickname.
No nickname. My name should be strong enough. Linn Sandstrom. You Google me and heaps comes up.
Yeah, perfect. All right, she's one of the best. She's one of our up-and-coming Australia fighters. She's definitely one to get around. Huge world title belt on the books coming up. We're going to be right behind her. Thank you so much, Linn, for coming on today. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
And Darcy, a pleasure as always, darling.
Thank you, darling.